Representative DeGraaf.
Thank you, sir, and I will, as always, I will try to keep this germane to the bill. All right, so this paragraph right here, my colleague mentioned a specific scenario where this happened, and we know this happens. And this happened before this bill was written. That happened, that doxing occurred to a citizen while that record was a library record. It was a library record. It was not corrible. And yet it was released. And it was released in a malicious, malevolent way for malevolent purposes. So this bill, as written, takes the active step, and this is a big problem with this bill. This bill that was brought by the agencies that the sponsor mentioned is taking the active step of ensuring that those records can be released. And we already heard the result of that. So if the outcome is obvious, the intent is inferred. And the only thing, and if you have this in here, the outcome is obviously doxing. And if the outcome is obviously doxing, the intent is obviously doxing.
Representative DeGraaf, again, the outcome, you can talk about the outcome of the policy. Intent, you cannot know what the intent of the sponsors are. That is beyond the scope of our discussion. It would appear, based on the obvious outcome, that the intent is doxing. It appears. I'm not saying it is, it appears. It has the appearance, it gives the appearance thereof. This bill takes the specific step, and now not only is it taking the specific step of doxing, it's taking the specific step of we could look at this and say this is inadvertently allowing doxing. And now in this deliberative process, I mean, let's just pretend it's a deliberative body, that when we have identified a risk to our constituents, to the citizens of Colorado, because again, this whole bill is about the right of is about the right of citizens to exercise, to petition their government for grievances. And our job, what is our job here? Our job is, well, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men deriving their just power from the consent of the governed. So what is our job? Our job is to secure the right of our citizens to exercise this First Amendment right of petitioning their government for grievances and do so in a safe manner. Now we already have an example, one example of many, that this bill actively threatens. And there are 3 changes that we can make to secure the rights of those that we represent. If we don't make those changes, then this General Assembly is making the active statement that it does not wish to secure the rights of those individuals to petition their government for grievances over materials they don't feel are appropriate to be taxpayer funded in a taxpayer building by an agent of the government at taxpayer expense. So again, if the outcome is evident, if it's obvious, and it is, what is going to happen is obvious. Now, that might not have been the intent of the bill, but now knowing and having examples of the obvious outcome, if you block changing the obvious outcome, I can only infer that the intent is doxing. That's the appearance. That's the logical conclusion. I guess we'd have to have an explanation from the sponsor why the outcome, if the outcome is obvious, why I cannot infer that intent. So I would like to hear why. I think we need to secure the rights of our constituents to petition their government for grievances as protected in the First Amendment.